Yeah.
Did you remember any incident with your spouse when you read that? I mean,
Obviously,
I did. I did.
obviously, that is always right. Especially people who have get married, arranged marriage, they don't get to know each other early, right? And you come to closer and stuff, right? So we tend to understand, right? I'm now feeling that I should have read the book before marriage. I would have made, uh, you know, yeah. But it's very interesting.
So, for people who have not been into books, there are some wonderful books. So maybe you've heard about this. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Yeah.
Love and Respect is another book. Five Love Languages. Five Love Languages is really good. I would
Oh,
recommend everyone to read it. Applying it is one thing. I also have to learn to apply it more, but at least I know where things are coming from, at least, by reading these books. Awesome. Let's get started, guys. Let's try to be on video as much as possible so that we can interact. And I'll hand it over to Elango and Harris. Who's doing the first chapter?
I'm the one.
Okay, go ahead, Elango. Yeah.
Okay, let me share, right? So, just this is going to be my interpretation, right? And it is a very small chapter. Let me share my this one. What is this? Let me know whether my
Yeah, it's visible.
okay. Okay. Yeah. So today, good evening, guys. Today we are exploring the powerful framework of understanding the temperaments or behavior or human behavior that four personality temperaments, right? So this is an ancient concept, but this book brought to a life helps to understand why people act the way they do, and we all do. Uh, and how we can communicate and more effectively with one another, right? So this is the book is this chapter is a very small, but this is my interpretation, but it is wonderfully written by Florence, right? So moving to this agenda, right? What is personality plus, and the four personality types they talk about, they introduce in this, and why do we need to understand this personality, right? Um, so that is something, the agenda, right? So have we ever wondered that, why some people are, naturally outgoing while others, reflect quiet, why someone jump on the leadership roles and some people are like very quiet or seeking harmony. So the answer lies in the personality or the temperament, our natural inborn way of responding to the world around us, right? So the four temperaments book, this book, right, introduces us to on this four personalities. Each has its own uniqueness, right? uh, Strengths, weaknesses of our and there is a reason, science behind why do we behave like that, right? So and also this book strongly gives a message that uh, every temperament, every personality is is equal, and there is no personality superior and lower. And most importantly, it very strongly says that every temperament is very much needed for the society to go in harmony, right? So this is just the the diagram you can see. We have got these four personality types, but I just given the the anemic way of representing that how this these four characteristics, right? So sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, melancholic, right? So sorry for the pronunciations, right? Go ahead. Right. Uh, so why did I say powerful sanguine? So he's like very, we can call it as a social butterfly, very enthusiastic, talkative, bringing energy to wherever they are, and they love people, parties. In a single line, if you want to share that, they always have that. Let's have a good time, right? So that's the personality this book talks about, and that's when they are like popular sanguine. The next is like the personality is that powerful choleric, right? This is a very powerful personality because they are the natural leaders. They are decisive, goal oriented, and um, they want to take challenges, right? And always they seek. So I just did some little more, um, you know, um, information about this personality. I don't know why I did it from this, right? So they see always a big picture and they know how to get things done, right? So always they always try to do on their own way, but the downside could be right. Sometimes they can be they wanted to take more control, boss over other impatience and very sensitive, right? So to insensitive to the others' feeling, right? So that's when we calling is a powerful, temperament. The third one is like a perfect, right? He is a perfectionist. Uh, the perfect personality because of his deep thinking, his or her deep thinking, and very analytical, um, very systematic, detail oriented, um, and the motto behind their things are like let's do it in the right way, right? So they always try to go into in a systematic way. So the the fourth one, the peaceful, they're like the personality is like very calm, composed, patience. They always wanted to have peaceful life. And but sometimes they are referred like lazy. They are not very motivated, and they don't take ownership. Right? So this is all the four temperaments or the four personalities um, mentioned in this book. But this picture representation, I thought I'll bring it. So why do we need this book also very clearly talks about why we need to understand this temperaments or like personalities. So so if we it is like understand ourselves. And second is that understand the other side, right? When we try to communicate either one on one or with more than maybe communicating to the people, right? Understanding the other person will always helps us to have a very good healthy relationship, and the better results, right? So so that's the basic need of understanding the temperament of um, our human being, or whatever this called in this book, right? The four um, grouped or like four temperaments. And this book very clearly says that though it divides and it states that, but it very clearly says that, every one are um, means like, superior. There is no, you know, um, no personality is like less than the other, right? So every personality has its own advantage, as like, strength and weaknesses, and we need to play around the weaknesses. If we are self-aware that, where to balance, how we can communicate better, have a relationship with others, right? So that's the my interpretation of this book on the chapter one. Thanks. Uh, Let me know if you have any comments and stuff. But this is all about my interpretation of this first chapter.
Awesome, awesome, Milango. First time you are speaking in our get together, and with such a serious chapter, you have covered it beautifully. Awesome. Harris, you want to take it forward? The second chapter is full of exercise. Not sure how Harris will cover it, but over to you, Harris.
Yeah, I have done my level best. Let's see how I do that.
Okay.
See, Ilango has nicely presented all about the book, how the personalities ought to be categorized. So, as he rightly said, it's an ancient framework used by many philosophers to describe the human personalities. As he said, not one personality is above the other, but we always, as a human being, complement each other. If all the people are like on a leadership role, they will not be able to understand the other one. At the same time, all the brothers are just uh, going freely, not taking much care, then nothing will be serious. So people should always be um, um, uh, complementing each other with their different personalities. Only then the society will be moving in a much effective way. Let me share my screen. Uh, am I not presenting my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Screen, huh? Okay, good. So here, like every person that we come across in a life, everyone is unique. They have their own strengths, a set of strengths and weaknesses. Some of the strengths comes through their inborn gift, and the weaknesses also comes along with their inborn nature. At the same time, some are acquired by the circumstances in the environment they were brought up, or where they are working and all. And as the same thing as Ilongo said, like unless we understand ourselves, we cannot understand others. We'll always be, we should know, like I'm a sort of a leadership guy, so I always be trying to push down on others. So if I'm very carefree guy, I won't be very serious like anything. So the other person who instructs could be a bit serious, I should take note of. So unless we understand ourselves, we won't be able to understand the others. And we won't know the importance of others also. We should understand that the other person is also complementing the weakness that we have. So the author in her book is using an ancient framework. This is not the framework described by her, but still she's using the ancient framework to categorize the people. Okay, see, according to the framework, there are 4 temperaments like sanguine, phlegmatic, choleric, and melancholic. See, we categorize all the personality traits under these 4 temperaments. There are a lot of personality traits, but they are categorized into these 4 temperaments. So if you want to explain these temperaments, these are also technically sounding. How do we explain these temperaments in common terms? Like a sanguine person is a social butterfly, is very much outgoing and is more people focused. But his weakness is always is forgetful and disorganized, because his focus is not on the objective. His focus is on the people. Naturally, he'll be forgetful and disorganized. Whereas the phlegmatic person is always, he's a peacekeeper. He don't want to create any sort of uh, controversy in the group. So he tried to make the group calm and focuses on harmony, and is always passive and indecisive because he don't want any problem to come in that group. So he is a peacekeeper. The choleric person is a leader, so he's driven by his motto and by his goals, and is always bossy and impatient. The last one, the melancholic guy, is a thinker, he's thoughtful, and he's a perfectionist, but all the time moody and is overcritical because he wants to achieve the perfection. Now, how do we actually explain these characteristics technically? Like we say, the core traits of a sanguine person is very enthusiastic, is lively and talkative, and people oriented. And if you wanted to give a general description, is very outgoing and expressive. It's a fun-loving person, and he needs a lot of social interaction. He's very spontaneous and cheerful. But he will struggle with discipline, and it's very difficult for him because he is not very serious about any objective or goal. Whereas the phlegmatic person is very calm, is patient. That is core trait, and is very dependable. You can depend on him, and he's very steady. And because he's a peace-loving guy, he's also very easygoing, and they don't like any conflict. They are very good listeners, but they may lack assertiveness. They won't be able to assert anything. Whereas a choleric is a very determined, is very ambitious in nature, and he always leader-like and is goal-driven. And his general description is very strong-willed, decisive, and confident. He's a natural leader, born leader who can take charge. Only thing is very domineering if unchecked. Whereas the last category, the melancholic, is very thoughtful and he's analytical and perfectionist. And he wants every detail to fit his standard of perfection. As a deep thinker, and they are very sensitive. At the same time, they're very creative. And they seek order and quality. And they are because most of the time we won't be able to achieve the perfection, they'll be prone to worry and pessimistic. So these are the way to describe all these temperaments technically. And let us now come, how do we have all these temperaments in a person? It's not that one choleric person is always choleric. Every person can have all these temperaments, but in varying degrees. If a person has got a specific temperament is to a greater degree, then his characteristics will be shown on that. It doesn't mean that he's not social butterfly, maybe, but in a very lesser degree. So the most dominant temperament decides his nature outwardly, but he'll be having other temperaments also. So how do we actually measure? There should be some standard without which we cannot say some degree or something. So some mechanisms have been defined by the author. She is taking around 20 traits for strengths and 20 traits for weaknesses. For every trait, she's checking whether this particular person belongs to any of these temperaments. So she gives a table where for each trait she is having 4 different characteristics, and she says to which one you suit. And accordingly, she decides the temperament for that particular trait. So when we go through all the 20 traits for strengths, at the end, if we add up how many such traits are there for each and every temperament, we'll know where we are stronger. We are choleric or melancholic or phlegmatic or sanguine, we'll come to know. Similarly, she also gives some characteristics for each of the 20 traits for weaknesses. So we need to just check where in which trait we are more likely to fall into, which characteristic of every trait we are more likely to fall into. And sometimes when I was actually doing it, I was not able to decide for certain things because we don't actually feel we belong to that. In such cases, probably we can ask uh, uh, your wife or someone very close to you, to which trait do I express my characteristics? And finally, we can decide. So at the end of measuring our strengths and weaknesses for all the 20 plus 20, 40 traits, we need to add up where we, for every temperament. And we'll come to know like which is our temperament. Like maybe it is almost equal, or sometimes if it is 15 or 17 in one temperament, then we can say more or less I'm likely to fall into this category. So that's how she's technically helping us to decide on every person. So this is how can a person's predominant temperament be assessed among the 4 categories. The author has provided a table which we select one of the 4 options for each trait, helping us to determine the temperament a person belongs to. When we total the strengths and weaknesses for each trait, we can identify which temperament of the person predominantly belongs to. So a person scores the highest in one temperament, he predominantly shows the personality trait of that particular category. So here, normally by nature, to which role they fit into. Like a sanguine person, because he's more people-oriented, he can be put into public relations or sales or entertainment fields, whereas choleric can be in management or entrepreneurship or politics. Phlegmatic can be in teaching, counseling, or support roles, where a melancholic can be a research, design, analysis, and creative arts. So these are the natural category of uh, roles that these 4 different temperaments fall into. So where they will struggle, these temperaments, like different personalities, actually they complement each other. Like if a company only contains leaders, there is no person with a sanguine or phlegmatic, then it will definitely, the company may not survive. It needs a sanguine person to keep the company lively. So different personalities, they complement each other, and balanced team succeeds because If it is predominantly by one particular temperament, then again it will not succeed, even though we think that, oh, leadership is best it can do. And otherwise, a person possessing all these temperaments in the required area, then it's very good. Now, knowing our temperament predominantly help us to understand our natural tendencies, what energizes you, and how you make decisions and where you might struggle. For example, a sanguine person can learns to be more disciplined because he don't have the discipline, because always people oriented. Whereas a choleric needs to be more patient and empathetic, because as a leader kind of role, he'll be more impatient. So he has to be more patient and empathetic. A phlegmatic person learns to take initiative, because he's always peacekeeping, no, yes, no, no, always saying, keeping people calm irrespective of whatever happens. So he needs to learn to take the initiative. Whereas a melancholic learns not to overthink or expect perfectionism. So finally, self-awareness is the first step towards self-improvement. I need to know, like, to which category do I belong, or to which degree I represent each of these temperaments. And personality traits are important because they help us to understand ourselves, understand others, so supposing communicate better and grow emotionally. If I know I belong to sanguine or phlegmatic, if I talk to another guy or if I am more leadership oriented, I'm talking to another guy who's also leadership oriented. We know, okay, this person is of this type. We have to adjust accordingly. So it helps us more to understand ourselves. At the same time, it helps us to communicate with others with less a difference of opinion, or easy to gel with the other's nature. So that's the thing. So we need to choose the right roles and goals, or we need to train ourselves where we are lacking so that we can fit into any situation to adjust accordingly. So that's it, what I have done from this book. And I think I've done it.
Awesome, Harris. It was like listening to a lecture in a class. So much you've gone in depth, actually. Nice.
Yeah,
I
one
think
thing,
you have,
in the book, right, the author Florence mentions about her first day of her marriage, right? They were in a private place where she picked up the grapes and then started, eating, randomly. And then the husband, shouted at first, "Hey, what are you doing?" Right? So, that shows the different personalities, right? And initially she was hating, right? This thing, right? And he was expecting to, cut it pluck it properly so that, right, that looks, even after, plucking from there, it looks better.
same.
So he's a detail oriented, he's like, perfectionist, but she's like, high energy and, doesn't care. So that's the example she gives. Actually, it's a very lively example. And she also shared the emotion that first she didn't like it, but over a period, she did mention that over a period they understood their temperament, personalities, and then though they are like, other poles, but they understood, and then they try to gel each other. And then she told that, they did great things in their life. That's what she
Absolutely.
mentioned. So it's a, very good way of that resonated in my mind, that, how much very important. So this is all very important for our life, right? If everyone are same temperament, right, life will be boring, and we'll not find anything interesting in the life. So just one thing which I wanted to, I thought Harris will cover, so I thought, I'll put this, for everyone's, put it in everyone's memory. Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely.
Rightly
Harris?
said, Elango. I also went through the first chapter. Like, what was touching for me is like the same difference of opinion I too had with my wife. Initially, I was thinking like, why she's thinking like that? But it's not so. It's actually you may be thinking in a very perfect way, but their way of thinking is different. But finally, both had to understand each other. Like, oh yes, 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 it has to be that way, and naturally, the other person also will fall into line. Yes, yes, I have to be more improved. If you stick to your point, no, 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 I will not get along. It won't be doing nice.
Naturally opposite poles attract each other, right? So that's the the saying, right? That proves.
Correct, correct.
I'm sure every married person would have such stories to tell. It might not be grapes, it might be something else,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we should crack that joke once you read this book. Do go to a spouse and do
I did
share
it.
what you understood. Yeah, it's
And she
nice.
found me, wearing the socks. I was running for my, thing, and I just like that I wore my socks. And she told that your left one is not correct. That is, that's my experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great, guys. So I hope everyone did that exercise. Please do that because going forward, the chapters that we are going to read, we'll talk about what each of those means and how to change yourself, etc. Right? So please do go through it and let's think about why. So why this chapter is useful for us? One, obviously, if you're married with your spouse, obviously it is very useful to understand why they say something. And because you might not understand because you are a different personality trait. But apart from that, in our business, how do you think this will be useful knowing this?
So mostly when we sell a product, yesterday, as we have learned from the previous presentation, no, like instead of we need to understand what kind of the other person is actually falling into any of these temperaments. So we can adjust our temperament where we are lacking and we can present in such a way that the conversation goes very smoothly without hurting the other person. And
Mhm.
we'll be able to first sell ourselves and we can sell the product. Anyway.
Okay, Harris. Anyone else?
Yeah. So this is something like, it's this is my personal opinion, right? This is something that, more of like a relationship, right? It's not about, doing a business and running away, right? So this is something we need to have that relationship, connect, rapport, so that, right, we understand them very, in depth level, right? And then once we know that, right, we will be able to understand them more, and they also will be able to connect with us better, and we will be able to influence them. So anything in life, there should be something called win-win. I always believe in that, right? So there should be something for them, for me, right? So then it becomes very interesting. So to get that
Absolutely.
win-win, we should really know, connect, have a good relationship, longer relationship, so that, right, we will really will be able to help and then sustain for long. This is my personal view.
True. So not just so see in our business, what do we do, right? We have a person reaching out to us for weight loss or diabetes reversal or whatever, right? And we connect with them, we do the consultation, they start the program. But after that, you will find some people who will follow to the dot, right? Those perfectionists are there. Will follow everything to the dot. And you might be a perfectionist and you will like this client. Wow, right? Just like me, and everything is doing perfectly. And you will like that person, you will connect with them. But there will be many others who might not be the same personality trait as you, right? And you might, I mean, you not shout at them, but you might not be happy with what they are doing. Right now, you have to understand that people come from different personality traits, and you should learn how to handle each kind of people from a client perspective. And more importantly, when we have partners in our business, right? When we have partners, again, we have to handle them differently. Different people are different. See, for example, when Sam and Minati handles me and Priya, right? I mean, I'm sure an Ankur and Kirti is very different, right? Sam, Sandeep, and Shruti is very different, right? So different people, Sam or anyone has to learn how to handle people from different personal, not just the personality that they are comfortable with. If you are a perfectionist, you might be comfortable with the perfectionist, but that's not the case, right? If you might be a perfectionist, you might still you should be comfortable with other personality types also, because you never know what kind of people. And as someone rightly said, I think Harris rightly said, in a team you need all kinds of people. You cannot have all leaders the team, right? You need all kinds of people in the team. So think about this when you show this opportunity to others. When you talk to your clients, don't expect everyone to be like us. There are different personality traits out there. All are good. Everyone is unique in their own way. You should be able to connect with them, understanding these things. I think that is a takeaway right now. And obviously, we will go forward and learn how to maybe handle these people and how to change our own, a little bit of our own personality traits, etc. might be handled. I'm also reading this book along with you. Usually, all the book club books, I finish it early, but this time I'm also reading at the same pace as all of you. And I hope, see, I wrote everything in a piece of paper, right? All those markings, etc. So I hope all of you know what kind of a person you are by now. But we'll discuss it in the coming up sessions. Okay. Coming week, who wants to take up? I heard from Nirjara Sonia that you wanted to take up one chapter, chapter 3. And again, one question that I had was, these are small chapters and these are absolutely related chapters. I don't know if it makes sense for two people to take, or one person alone to finish it off, two chapters. Nirjara, you have read this book?
No, Joe, in one
You're
open,
also.
Sridhar Swapna has highly recommended, no? So
Okay,
from
okay.
there I picked it up.
Yeah. So again, this 3 and 4th chapter, do you want the same person to do it or two different people? 3, I think, is about different types of personalities. I don't think anyone can talk about it too much. No, not chapter 3, sorry. It's a part 2, a small part of it. It's not a chapter, actually. And I think you guys have covered it already, also, more or less.
Chapter 3
Yeah,
where?
we'll go directly to chapter 3. Let's have fun with popular sanguine. And then chapter 3 is quite big. I think that's good enough. Chapter 3 is good enough. It's quite big, around 13 pages. Okay, we'll finish chapter 3 in the next session. All fine? Nirjara, Sonia can do it?
Joe, I'll check with her and
Yeah,
confirm.
let me know. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Arjun, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I said it's good.
Yeah, great, guys. So, chapter 3 next week. Hopefully, we'll have Sonia speak. And great, Harris and Elango, first time. I think this is the second book club, and both of you spoke really well. Mm, Great.
Thank you.
New people, I hope it made sense to you. And whenever you get a chance, please come forward to take up a chapter, right? So that you also learn and you also read. Sometimes, see, the actually speaking, I always say this, Elango and Harris got the most out of this chapter because they had to present, they prepare really well, they go into depths. Next week, when you're listening, you might have read the book again, that chapter, but when you're listening, you won't learn that much. When you're presenting is when you actually learn.
Okay.
So that's why I always recommend people to take up a chapter each for presentation. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch up on Thursday next, Thursday, 9 p.m. Obviously, it's not a book club. We'll talk about mindset, growth, wonderful news that is happening, what leaders are doing. All those things we'll discuss on Thursday. Bye, everyone. Have a